and my addiction it increased. I was like, you know, when you see the grow bags on a horse, that's what the cocaine bag. It was around my head, and I used to sniff cocaine 24 hours a day, and I used to smoke cannabis. And I'm not glorifying drugs. I really ain't. I think drugs are evil, and that was me. And then I progressed to being a drug smuggler, and I got arrested. And I'm not glorifying this, for a large importation of cannabis. They said I broke the record at the time. I think it's been beaten since. I hope it has. No, I don't hope it has. I just don't want to be a record holder in the cannabis game, you know? What you do. I remember when they weighed me off, they gave me 12.5 years. And it was like job satisfaction. There was no gold watch waiting for me, or well done, Michael, you've done extremely well. You got arrested, you cost the government millions of pounds. What I got was a piece of paper telling me how many days I had to do. Whoa, not for me. And I'm in this cell, this big macho man, became a Christian by then. And so I dealt with it in a different way. I dealt with it with God. And prior to me getting sentenced, I had a situation going on in my life. Sorry if I'm jumping about a bit, where I met Jesus, and I say I met him. It was unbelievable how he introduced himself to me. I'd left my wife and children, and I was living with I'd married another girl, an Italian girl, and we had a restaurant in Spain. And she was a lovely kid. She put up with me. You know, I was pretty awkward sort of man. You know, I wasn't easy going. I was hard work, and I still am. You know, but God's good. You know, He's been patient with me. And she started going to a church. What I'm a member of is a church over in London. Am I allowed to say the name of the church? No. Yeah, Holy Trinity Brompton. And she went to this church with sort of a celebrity who was there at the time, and the vicar there started to pray for me, and I was just looking for a way out of prison. I wasn't looking for God. I mean, I used to bring my cannabis home and I would pray, Lord, I don't know what I was to say this prayer for, you know, smuggling drugs, if you let this one go home, I'll never ever do it again, you know. And you know, I don't think He answers them prayers. And that's where it was for me. I always believed in God, but I wasn't a Christian man. I always respected the church, always respected the Bible. But, you know, I'd never sort of steal from a church. You know, every time I was in a church, there was a respect I had in my heart. So I understand that God was a God. But my opinion of God was a punishing God. And I felt like I'd been punished all my life. And He's not. He's not a punishing God. He's a wonderful God. And I was in a chapel in Exeter with a lovely chaplain man, and I'll say you, his name was Bill Birdwood. And if you're listening, Bill, bless you, mate, marvellous man. And another guy, he's dead and all, bless him, it's John Coppin. And he used to walk around Exeter prison, right, trying to save souls. And we're nicked for massive amounts of cannabis, and we're hard work, we're all taking drugs. And he used to knock on the door, and I befriended this man. And he took me into the chapel. And then Daniela went to HTB, she met the prison thing. And I don't know why I phoned the church up. I wasn't a believer. I was looking for a move. Everything, there always had to be a move, there always had to be money, or there always had to be a manipulation, and I can get through this. And I used to find it exciting, you know, just doing things. I had this energy that I always had to be doing things. If there was something to do, I wanted to do it. And it had to be legal. But Jesus weren't illegal. But He stole my heart, and thank God He did. And while I was in the chapel, and a team came down, lovely lady, Emmy Wilson, and she looked like, she was dressed like Lady Di, you know, with the sheep on the jumper and the red cords and the green socks and little black brogues on. I thought, what's going on here? And there was this sort of revival out in Toronto, blessing. I don't know how many of you knew about that. I wasn't in tune to it. And they came down, and I was there with my old man. And there was about 20 of us in this room, and it's the oldest prayer they say, "Come, Holy Spirit." And when the Spirit of God came, I won't tell you what I said, because I swore, and it was real, and it touched me, and I thought, oh God, it's real. this stuff's real. And it says in Psalm 51, he desires the truth in our innermost being. And it once makes me, I want to weep. That's where he touched me. He touched this sinner, this bad man, this man, and I'm still a sinner. You know, I ain't there yet. You know, and he touched me, and I feel privileged to say that the living God touched my heart. And he bent down and he shook my spirit, and I, oh my God. And I remember a kid from South London standing next to me, and he went to run, and I didn't know what was going on, but I grabbed him by the arm and I said, don't miss it. He said, no. A guy started praying in tongues, and he wasn't a Christian. Oh, what's going on here? My old man, it was like someone hit my dad on the chin. This is true. And my old man fell on his backside and he began to laugh. And I got, my old man's a miserable, whatever he was. And he's laughing. Ain't right, and I got a bit frightened. It was like the transfiguration. It was like years came off his face, and he was standing there, and he was wobbling about, and he was making these funny noises. And I went, stop laughing, and then I started laughing, and then the Spirit of God must have blinded the prison officers' eyes and their ears, because there was people shroomed all around this room, praising the living God. I'm in awe. There's people, the chairs of, this is straight, this is in a prison chapel, and everyone's praising God who don't know him. Yeah, oh Jesus, God, where are you? There's an angel in the room. Where's the angel? Show me the angel. You know, I'm believing that there's an angel there. You know, I've just been touched by the power of God. And the prison officers, bless them, walked in like that, you know, with a thing on. Okay, lads, bang up. Bang up. Bang up. Are you sure? Back to your rooms, back to yourselves, come on. And you know, my dad was slain in the spirit. Emmett, have you had a drink? They went, seriously. He went, no, I'm very happy, Governor, I'm very happy. It was the best night's sleep I've ever had in prison. And then it began, you know, and, you know, I was on drugs. Immediately I came off of drugs. Tobacco. But then I was left with me, you know, I had this sort of brokenness in me, my mind weren't right. And we get encouraged, I think it's Romans 12, it says, I will transform your mind. I'm still waiting, but I'm getting there, you know. And I went through the prison system, and Alpha, it was born, Alpha in prisons was born out of this thing, and nothing to do with me. I didn't have a clue. Tongues of fire, they said. I thought, what's all that about, tongues of fire? And it broke out, and we went to Swaleside, and went to Mason. And Amazing Grace, I remember being in Swaleside, and there were 70 guys, non-believers, all like, yeah, come on, mate, what's going on? And the Spirit of God, that song, we sang that song, and the Spirit of God fell. And it fell, and there was people weeping, and there was people crying, and that's not me, is it? And it was all, and then Maidstone, and then Blum. And by the time I got out of prison, I relapsed on drugs. And I backslid, and I struggled. And then I came back round. That was 12 years, 11 years ago. 11 years. And I hadn't had a drink or drug since. And